I'm RT and welcome back to RTsWorld. So today I present you with the fifth part of Casino Basics. And Casino Basics is a very popular series on my channel where I build with you together very nice modular casino elements that you need to design your arcades in Minecraft. And the big advantage about those modular systems is if you watch all the series like video 1 to 5 up to now, and I will also link the playlist in the video description and in the comment section, you will be prepared to design your own casinos, like with real modules. I basically also do the same stuff. I just use those modules over and over again, just combine them in different fashions, use different fronts, and basically design completely new concept with them. And yeah, that's how I do it. And today we're gonna focus on outputs. The last video was focused on inputs. You also see that as part 4 in the Casino Basics series, and I will also link that in the info card section. And with today's video, we will make basically a full circle. We have then inputs and outputs covered 100%. So there's a very nice example behind me, the Wheel of Fortune. But before we do that, let's just very shortly recap the input section. And the input section was basically just how many diamonds or how many currency items you need to input into your system to start it. That can be very easy, for example, just the press of a button. Or it can be very complicated, like where you have an item count, where you just have, for example, to insert 5 items, 5 diamonds to start the machine. And if you only insert 4, nothing will happen. So only the 5th item will do it. And of course, they increase in complexity by going from left to right, but they also increase in customizability. And yeah, with those inputs and outputs, it doesn't matter which video you watch first. There's no real order or real sequence to it. You can watch the inputs video first and after that watch the output series. They're completely independent of each other. And to really become a full-on output redstone pro for casino tech, we focus today on only 5 different circuits. They are pretty similar. They only increase a little bit in complexity. Here we have a bunch of variations afterwards and a fun example basically at the last. Super funny, stay tuned for that. And yeah, with those five circuits, you can basically output any amount of prices or items or whatsoever. But before we do that, we just start with a very nice example of outputs, which is this Wheel of Fortune. And it combines a few different circuits. It has a ×3 output, it has a single output, a ×2 output, a ×4, and again a ×2. And it also combines inputs. So we not only need 1 diamond, we will need 2 diamonds to start it. And after that, there will be a flame in the middle. Of course, the block by block tutorial is also available in the video description and comment section of this machine. And now we're getting 2 items. So we should be now up to 26 again. Perfect. So this machine utilizes inputs and outputs together with a bunch of other modules described in the different Casino Basics videos of mine. And we basically combine those to a very, very appealing machine for the customer. So, but now let's focus on those 5 previously mentioned circuits. The first one is the easiest one. Of course, it's called the single pulse output, and we only work with pulsed outputs since pulsed outputs don't care about the input, and I want to make it regardless. So button press, 1 item, lever flip, also 1 item. If we restore the signal back, no more items. But now you may ask, hey RT, in Bedrock Minecraft there are no sticky piston pulse shorteners, and I also commented quite often. In Bedrock, you need comparator-based pulse shorteners. And the reason why I don't want to use them in Java usually is because they take up more space. As you can see here, we have 2 blocks, an increase of 2 blocks in length and 1 block in width. And that's usually for my builds a no-go. So that's why I usually go in Java Edition with those pulse shorteners. But of course, this version works for Bedrock as well. So that's why I call it the single pulse output Bedrock Edition. And for the rest of the video, I will only focus on Java-based outputs, but keep in mind that you can just substitute this sticky piston-based pulse shortener with that slightly bigger comparator-based one. So whenever you see this machine, you can basically substitute it with that in Bedrock and it will work completely fine. So that was already the first circuit. If you only need 1 output, 1 price, just go with that one. But you now may ask, okay, I want to have 2 diamonds. My customer will input 1 diamond, for example, and they should get 2 out if they win. How do I do that? And that's basically done with a 3-tick repeater watched by an observer. And we're gonna do that now. Just button press, 1, 2. Level flip, also 1, 2. Perfect. And yeah, at some point, you may ask, yeah, how do I get a triple pulse output? And triple pulse output looks a little bit more complicated, but honestly not that much more complicated. And of course we will build all these outputs together block by block afterwards, all the 5 circuits. And we have 2 observers, upper level, lower level, few repeater delays, and we basically do 1, 2, 3. Same goes of course for the lever switch, but yeah, I will not do that anymore now. I just use the button from now on. So the quadruple one is the last, which is a dedicated circuitry behind it. So as you can see here, dedicated circuit, different circuit, whole different circuit. We have this kind of 2-layered approach now. Let's do that. That gives us 4 items. So that brings us all the way up to 44 diamonds. And now we're gonna start with the customizable pulse output. So that are real dedicated circuits. You can only output 4 items with that circuit. Doesn't matter what you change, but with that one, it's a customizable one suddenly, and we do 5 items. As you can see, it's slightly slower, but it outputs 5 items perfectly each time. And we do that by a combination of time-based clocks. So first of all, we're gonna start with our pulse, 2-tick pulse, a timer with 4 items in there. The 4 items will get moved to the right and back to the left once. And while it's doing that, a clock is running. And by that timing, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get exactly 5 pulses. And that 5 pulses correspond to the 5 items. And now it's getting a bit ridiculous. Now you can of course increase that by just increasing the amount of items in here, in this hopper. And as you can see here, if we go from 4 to 6, we can do 8 items. And I'm gonna do that now. Perfect. That brings us all the way up to 62. And from now on, I will just delete my items so you have a better overview. If we double again, so from 6 to 12, we get 16 items, and now the next one is very interesting, so be prepared for that one, but now I will just watch it spitting out 16 items. Perfect. And now you may ask, okay, RT, that's nice and so on, but it's super slow. Make it faster. And of course there is a way to make it faster. We just have to substitute these like redstone lines here with just 2 observers, and we're gonna do that by also of course halving again the items. So we're going from 12 back to 6. So it's basically the 8 version but with 2 observers, and what that does is it increases the speed by basically double. So you have half wait time to get your 16 items, which brings us perfectly to 32. And now we have, of course, if we double that again, so if we double 6 again to 12, we of course get now 32 items. So that brings us all the way up to 64 if my circuits are correct, and they should be. Perfect. So, and now we're getting a bit wild. So now we are incorporating the fast one, but we also double the amount of output droppers. And you may notice this one from my double or nothing casino build, where I incorporated exactly this mechanism. At some point, if you want to output 32s, don't let your customers wait like a minute to get all the items. You just double the amount of dispensers. You have the fast version again. So we have the double and the fast version. As you can see, that there's 32 items, pretty fast, and yeah, pretty reliable. And the last one is 64, which is also double fast. So let's delete all the diamonds again. That's 64. That's just an increased time again. And as you may notice, this time-based hopper here and this clock can be extended for quite more, as you have here the space for a lot more items. That means you could in theory get a very, very large amount of items towards your customers. And I just did that with a very ridiculous one, which gives you 512 items. at one go with one output. So if you have a very ridiculous casino like Double or Nothing, where you want to go to like 512 or even 1024, and I intentionally selected just multiples of 64, 8, 16, so you're used to that numbers of stacks in Minecraft anyway. So 512 is represented by 48 blocks in the hopper, double output, so fast ones, and a quad hopper setup. So we have 4 droppers that spit out diamonds, and yeah, you now may want to know how it looks like. And yeah, that's basically how it looks like. It's super fast, it's a ton of diamonds. As you can see here, we're getting very, very many items in a very short amount of time with these outputs, and it's super fun to use. It's perfectly suited for our casinos. So let's, you have to like think the other way around if you're going like this. So 2 stacks left only. So it's super, super fast. And it's also 100% reliable. If you play it on servers or single players, those outputs will work all the time. So let's do it. And perfectly 512 diamonds in my inventory. And yeah, with those reliabilities and also I would say simplicity at some point, we can now design those 5 circuits together block by block, so you can build those in your single player or multiplayer world. So welcome to the block by block tutorial, and again we're now gonna start with circuit 1, and circuit 1 is pretty easy. We just start with a redstone dust. We have a repeater set to 2 ticks, repeater set to 1 tick, sticky piston in between for Java. For bedrock, of course, you need to replicate this circuit here. And yeah, then we basically have our dropper. So if we now insert here the pulse, we have 1 item. Circuit 2 is also not that complicated. We have the same setup. So we have the button, the redstone dust, the sticky piston, the repeater, this time set to 3 ticks. And then we're gonna incorporate an observer. And then we're gonna incorporate our, that was not my intention, our dropper. And that leaves us with 2 items. Perfect. Let's go for 3. And 3 items is a little bit more complex, but yeah, not that really. Again, we have this setup with the sticky piston. Then we have a repeater set to 2 ticks. We're gonna place 2 more blocks, an observer, a repeater set to 1 tick. Here will be our output. We have another observer facing down, and repeater set to 3 ticks, repeater set to 4 ticks. Very sorry, we have to set this repeater to 3 ticks on the bottom, and now we get 3 items. Perfect. The 4th setup is, again, you already know the trick, 2 tick output, redstone lamp, observer, redstone repeater, redstone dust, and then 2 observers, block. And what that does is creates an output with exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 items. So after removing all the items, 4, perfect. Okay, now we're gonna focus on the last one, which is the 5th circuit. And we're just gonna build again our button. You already know it, how it works. So, and now it's getting different. So we're now gonna need a comparator. We're gonna need 2 hoppers facing into each other. Then some composters just to reduce a little bit of lag. Then we're gonna need here a redstone torch, there a redstone torch, 2 pieces of redstone dust. And then we're just gonna place, like, yeah, it doesn't matter, 4 items in there. So then we're gonna start with 2 comparators, a repeater, another repeater, more redstone dust. And with that done, we basically just need a little bit of redstone. And we have here our dropper, and that should always give us 5 items. Perfect, 5 items it is. And now if we, for example, want to go faster with the fast version, we just have to modify it by placing in here an observer and here an observer, like 2 blocks apart. And the last part we want to do is now, for example, get in here 2 more items. So 6 and the double version should give us 16 items. Let's see, we don't have any diamonds in our inventory. Perfect. Yeah, and of course, if we then double, for example, the amount of hoppers, we can get 32, and you get the idea. So that's how you can now play around with it. So that should give us 32 diamonds in a very short amount of time. And of course, you can fill that up to the brim and yeah, get your customers an infinite amount of diamonds is a little bit too far-fetched, but you get the idea. You will get a lot of items if you have basically, let's check it out. Yeah, as you can see here, we're not even close because they have to go into one hopper and then into the other one. So of course you can get very ridiculous amounts of items with those machines. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, how to get really 100% customizable output. And with that said, many thanks for watching. Of course, next video will be again a casino build, since this one is a casino basics one. But casino basic videos are also very important. They show you how to build those machines. They show you the theory behind it, the concepts implemented in my machines. And I think it's pretty nice to learn a little bit more about Redstone. If you like my videos, make sure to subscribe and like. And also, if you really love them, make sure to become a Patreon at patreon.com. And with that said, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Yeah, they're still going. See you.